On behalf of St. Francis Health Services, welcome to our webinar entitled Delivering World-Class Service. Our presenter today is Dr. Bryan Williams, who is a leadership and service excellence speaker, consultant, and author. He has facilitated workshops and delivered keynotes worldwide for various companies in diverse industries. Bryan was the Global Corporate Director of Training and Organizational Effectiveness for the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company. He holds degrees in business administration, hotel restaurant management, and adult learning, including a Doctor of Management in Organizational Leadership. Bryan is also the founder of the acclaimed BW Leadership Academy, the Strong Leader Institute, and BW TV Online Learning. He is the author of 3 books on service excellence and was a member of the Board of Examiners for the Baldrige Performance Excellence Program. Most of all, Bryan is very passionate about helping companies reach high levels of service and organizational excellence. So with that, Dr. Bryan Williams, it's all yours.
Thank you so very much, Leah. It's such a privilege for me to be here with you today. I'm actually in Maryland, and they had a big snowstorm yesterday, and I absolutely love when I visit Minnesota, where you are, because no matter what time of year it is, no matter if it's 10,000 degrees below zero or it's the middle of summertime, everyone is so incredibly hospitable and warm and caring. So thank you for this opportunity. So today's topic is delivering world-class service, delivering bold, authentic, meaningful, genuine world-class service. And before we get into the real content of the presentation, I want to give you a little bit of background on me to kind of establish the context. So you can probably tell by now with my accent, I'm not from Minnesota. I was actually born and raised in the Caribbean, specifically St. Thomas in the United States Virgin Islands. Very small island. It's about 13 miles long, 32.5 square miles. You can drive from one end of St. Thomas to the next in maybe 30 to 35 minutes. If you look at it on a map, it may be a dot. Sometimes it may not even show the dot. It will just have an arrow saying, this is St. Thomas in this general vicinity. I grew up working in luxury hotels, restaurants, and spas, mainly with the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company. And for many of you who may know, the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company is known for just world-class excellence in service and fancy chandeliers and spas and so forth. And I had 17 jobs, starting at 15 years old. I was a dishwasher, busboy, housekeeper, front desk, concierge, bellman, doorman. I was the director of training at one point, and eventually I was a global corporate director of training and quality for the company, opened a lot of hotels and so forth. But over the last 12 years, I've had the great privilege and blessing to have my own company, and my team and I, we help other businesses with their service culture. I was convinced 100% that all of my clients would be hotels, restaurants, and spas, but that did not happen. In fact, I would say for the last 12 years, perhaps about 60 to 70% of my clients have been in healthcare, hospitals, health systems, long-term care facilities, skilled nursing homes, assisted living, hospices. And you start thinking to yourself, well, what on earth does hospitality have to do with healthcare? And you may say, well, people. But I can tell you this. I have heard healthcare staff, I've heard clinicians say to me, I didn't go to school to serve people. I've heard that before. I've heard that before. So in my mind, hospitality, it means to care for. It means to help. It means to do for others. Whether you know the person or not, whether you like the person or not, it means to do good things for other people and to be welcoming and helpful. The root word in hospitality is hospital. It's really your word. Now, St. Francis Health Services of Morris, the kind of work that you do to care for the aging, residents, and their families, and for the community at large is noble work. Is meaningful work, and it's work that is vital. So my role here today with you on this webinar is to see if there's one or two things I can add. I can help you add, no matter what your position is. Whether you're a nursing assistant, nurse, you work in rehab, you work in environmental services, you're an administrator, you're a director of nursing, you're a driver, you're a greeter. No matter what your job is, social worker, chaplain, pharmacy rep, whatever your job is, my role here today, by the grace of God, is to add something to your toolbox so you can serve and engage and care on an even higher level than you're currently doing. So let's continue. We have a few key objectives today. We're going to talk about the difference between serving and engaging. We'll talk about what it means to have a power of touch points. We'll discuss the difference between the function and the purpose. We'll also talk about some key steps of service. Every single thing you do has a beginning, a middle, and end, and we'll go through those steps. So, but there'll be something. But there'll be things that are easy to grasp and easy to understand. And as we go through these steps, I don't want you thinking that these are in addition to your regular work. That's a big mistake. These are not in addition to the regular work. What I'm trying to share today, what I'm sharing is actually, this is how you do your regular work. It is how you greet, how you serve, how you provide medication, how you give the bed baths, how you help people eat, how you serve them in the dining room. This is the how. This is not just the what. It's not in addition, but it is your regular work. So I'll take you back. Your mission there at St. Francis Health Services of Morris, which I absolutely love. It says, we are committed to express Christ's message of love and hope by providing for health, residential, community, and allied services in a holistic, competent, and caring manner that recognizes the value and dignity of every human life. When I see that mission, I think about Proverbs 3:27, which says, do not withhold good from those who deserve it when it's in your power to help them. In your role that you have right now at St. Francis Health Services, it's noble, honorable work. It's my contention that not everyone should be serving other people. You may say yes. I'm sure you've gone into businesses, you've gone into organizations, you may have even gone into some long-term care facilities when the person who's helping you or answering your question, you're thinking to yourself, this person cannot like other human beings. There's just no way. It looks like some people look like they've been sucking on lemons all day, like their smile was surgically removed at birth. Not everyone should be serving people. In fact, I will also say, not everyone should be serving in healthcare. It takes a special type of person. I'll go a next step further. Not everyone should be serving in a long-term care facility. That's an extra special type of person. So I encourage you to reflect and look back regularly on your mission, because that right there has some words that is the source of everything that you're doing. Now, my first job when I was 15, this is interesting. My first job when I was 15 years old, I want you to picture me, skinny little island boy there growing up in St. Thomas. This is long before I met my beautiful bride and had children. This is way back. I was in the 11th grade, actually. And I went to work in a restaurant. It was called the Palm Terrace Restaurant. And this place was supremely fancy. I'm talking about chandeliers, crystal glasses, porcelain plates, linens, tablecloths. Had 2 tablecloths on it. When you're polishing the silverware, you didn't just use a napkin, but you use a white glove with a napkin. Now you know that's an extra level. The menus had gold plating on it. The menus had no prices on them. Do you know what it means when there's no price on the menu? That means if you have no money, stay home. That's what it really means. So on the first day of work, I want you to walk with me. First day of work, I came into work, and the guy who was the maitre d', that's the restaurant manager, as you know, he was from Paris, straight from Paris, and his name was Charles de Foucault, from Paris. He came to me, and the first words out of his mouth were not, welcome to the team, so nice to have you here, so great to see you, we look forward to how your contributions. No. None of those things happened. The first words out of his mouth, Monsieur de Foucault, he looked at me square in the eyes and he said, I want you to work in this restaurant like you own it. And I said, huh? Then he said, 6 months from now, if this restaurant is not better, as a result of you being hired, you failed. And I said, but I'm just a dishwasher. This is my first job, I'm a dishwasher. Yet, this guy is telling me that I own stuff. Does he not realize that I'm thinking to myself, he should know I want to come to work, do my job, do only what I got to do, get my little money, buy my Air Jordans, buy lunch, and go home. Does he not get that? Absolutely not. There are some people, ladies and gentlemen, their mode, their mentality is to come to work and do just what they have to do and go home. There's some people who are content with only doing the bare minimum. Now, people who do the bare minimum, I call them BMs. You get it? Bare minimum. People who do the bare minimum, BMs. So, Monsieur Defoucault said to me, now, Brian, he actually called me Mr. Bryan, which is a big deal. I'm 15 years old. He said, Mr. Bryan, I want you to get something. I don't know if you'll be here for 6 days or 6 weeks or 6 months. I don't really know. But he did say to me that before you leave this position, not even this company, before you leave this position as a dishwasher / busboy, there ought to be evidence you were in that job. There should be evidence you are here. So I'm thinking, does he want me to leave dead bodies behind? I was like, what kind of a place am I working? But he said, no. There have to be evidence. Now, if you look at CSI or Law and Order or any of these crime shows, you'll know that evidence is not a concept, is it? Evidence is not a theory, is it? Evidence is not an idea, is it? Evidence is irrefutable proof. It's something you should be able to hold and touch and feel. It's something you can hold. It's something you can grab and look and say, I did that. He was saying make a difference, create a process, create a worksheet, bring someone onto the team who turned out to be good. Something, do something that you can look back and say, I did that. So I remember clearly that although the front of the restaurant was opulent and pristine and so forth, and the back of the restaurant was disorganized. Nothing was everywhere it was supposed to be. Now, get this. I remember distinctly that the Human Resources Office had the best invention ever. Guess what it was? A label making machine. Oh, yes. And on my break, I was in my job maybe 2 weeks. On my break, I went to the Human Resources Office. Now, get this. No one sent me. That's key. If you work like you own it, no one should have to send you to do anything. That's for amateurs. Chances are, anything your manager asked you to do, you already knew it needed to be done. Let's be honest, you already knew it needed to be done. So I went on my own with my own initiative. I went, got the label maker, came back to my department and went label making crazy. I labeled everything, labeled the pots, the plates, the cups, the spoons, labeled all the areas. Now, here's where it gets good. When I left that department, came back over a year later, guess what? The labels were still there. Is that leaving evidence? Absolutely. So I challenge you today. If you were to leave your job today, and don't leave your job today, please don't leave your job today. If you were to leave your job today, would anyone know you are in that job? I'm talking about beyond your name tag being left behind, or your badge, or your tax form in the drawer. No, would anyone know you were there? What did you create? What did you help to do? What did you help to improve that was not there before? What opportunity for improvement did you see and you uncovered? What did you correct? Something. We're not, it's at St. Francis Health Services, we're not about the business of doing the bare minimum. Not doing the bare minimum. So in effect, you are the CEO of your brand. Like Leah Nelson is on this call. Leah, she is Leah Nelson Inc. Kathy's on this call, is Kathy Incorporated. If Steve is on this call, it's Steve LLC. You are the CEO of your brand. Now, you work for a brand. You work for St. Francis Health Services of Morris, but you, yourself, your job, your personal brand is something. Now, Jeff Bezos from Amazon.com, he said that your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Okay? That's your brand. What did it say? What did it say about that person, that brand, that organization, that team when you're not in the room? What do people say about you when you're not there? Do they smile? Do they frown? Do they have no reaction whatsoever? You see? What is your brand? And your brand is what you create every single day. Now, the Dalai Lama said, if you think you're too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. Now, I'm from the islands, I'm from the tropics, and I'm sure that you see mosquitoes as well, but if you go to sleep, you may not see the mosquito, but you can hear it, yeah? And you wake up with evidence on your body it was there because it'll bite you. No one at St. Francis Health Services should ever say, I'm just a nursing aide. I'm just a person helping out part-time. I'm just a nurse. I just clean the rooms. I just drive the residents places. I just do the interviewing. I just do the rehab. No one. You are not just anything. I may come to your facility and I may never meet the administrator. But do you know who I meet? I meet the nurse. I meet the person who's there at the front desk. Everyone's job matters and everyone's job is critical. Now, you see 5 stars there on the screen. 5 stars. In the hospitality world, you can't get any higher than 5 stars. 5 stars is the epitome. 5 stars means excellence. 5 stars means above and beyond. Now, here's the thing. 4 stars means you get things right pretty much all the time. 5 stars means that it's either exceptional or it's wrong. It's either exceptional or it's wrong. It's either done the way it's supposed to be done every time or it's unacceptable. That's what 5 stars means. Now, if you work in an organization that claims to be 5 stars, 5 stars, in your mind, if you work there, the opposite of 5 stars is not 1 star. The opposite of 5 stars is 4 stars. 5 stars and 4 stars are completely opposite. You see? If you are thinking and you're in a 4-star environment, you're working in a 4-star team, in your mind you're thinking, well, if I just try a little harder, if we just do a little bit more, all we gotta do is take that 1 degree difference, we can get from 4 to 5. And I'm saying that is completely a myth. Not true whatsoever. 4 stars and 5 stars are opposite. 2 completely sides of the spectrum. And we'll get into it a little bit later when we talk a little bit more about touch points. So I want to just get that in your mind. Now, to be a world-class service provider, you must engage your customer. You must engage your customer. Now, engaging is key. Engaging is key. Now, my wife and I, we've been married now going on 17 years. That's my bride of 17 years. Everything good about me, you can blame her. For my faith, for my wellness, everything, you can blame her for it. At one point, I proposed to her, and she said yes. When she said yes, we became what? Engaged. Engaged. Now, engagement, as you know, means more than, I like you, you're nice. No, engagement means there is an emotional connection. It means that I see you, I care about you, I love you, I adore you, I want to build a long-term relationship. If I bring my Aunt Agnes to St. Francis, I do not want you to serve her. I want you to engage her. Engage her. If I'm going to trust you, if I'm going to trust you to take care of her, don't you dare serve her. I want you to engage her. Engage every part of her. I want you to make her feel like she's your Aunt Agnes. Make her feel like she's part of your family. You can literally come into her room and do every single thing right. You can use your name, wash your hands, sanitize your hands, ask if there's anything more I can do for you, give her the food the right way, give her the medication the right way. You can do everything on your checklist the right way, and she can still feel like she was being served by a robot. You can do everything right, and my Aunt Agnes can still not feel engaged. Engagement is a different level. So that's really what the purpose of our discussion here today. We're going to talk about how to engage rather than just how to serve. And we're going to start with some universal service rules. Are you ready? Some universal service rules. The first service rule we have is called the golden rule. And you all know the golden rule, right? That's in the book of Matthew in the Bible. And essentially, the golden rule is do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Or treat others the way you want to be treated. That's foundational. You learn that since you were 6 months old. That's key, foundational. Now, I want to use the golden rule as a foundation moving forward, all right? If I want you to be nice to me, I should be nice to you. If I want you to say good morning to me, I should say good morning to you. If I want you to anticipate my needs, I should anticipate your needs. Sounds fair enough. Now, let's throw a little bit of a wrinkle in there. Let's say that I love room temperature water, and you ask me to set up your meeting room. No, you ask me to bring you some water. Should I assume that you want room temperature water? No, you may not want that. But if I bring you the room temperature water, I'm giving you what I would want, but you may not want that. Let me put it another way. I grew up on St. Thomas in the islands. If you've been to any island, a Caribbean island, Hawaiian island, Indonesian island, a Greek island, island people are essentially the same, no matter which part of the world you are. If I come into an elevator and you're in the elevator and we're on St. Thomas, we'll leave the elevator knowing each other's social security numbers, blood type, bank routing number, PIN number. We'll know everything about each other because you talk to people. That's the kind of the way it is in Minnesota as well, come to think of it. Now, when I moved from St. Thomas to Atlanta, Georgia, and it was not a big transition because people in the South are generally that way. Then we moved from Atlanta to the Washington, D.C. metro area, which is where we live now. We've been here for the last, I want to say 14 years or so. And yeah, it's been a big transition because in this area, no one says hello to you unless they know who you are. You can be right next to someone on the metro or the subway, elevator. Nobody says hello to anybody. So when I first came here, I was working in a corporate office, and I thought, I will change everybody. I'm going to change people. Just to let you know how naive I am. First 6 months, I would come to work, turn on the lamp in my office, and I would walk around everyone's cubicle saying, good morning, how you doing, nice to see you, every day. I would get back to my office drained. You know why? Nobody would say good morning back. I would go home I'd go home to my wife and ask her, what's wrong with everyone else? What I had to realize is that for some strange reason, not everyone wants to be treated the way I want to be treated. I had to learn that for some people, you have to give them, 10 gallons of coffee and they may not know you, whatever the case is. But ultimately, service excellence is not about you and what you want to give. It's about what the other person needs to receive. Service excellence is not about you. It's about the recipient. It's not about the giver. It's about the recipient. The golden rule is great to establish the foundation and empathy. But if you want to serve others, you have to think about others, which is the platinum rule, is treat others the way they want to be treated. I asked my Aunt Agnes, what name would she like to be called? Ask her what time she likes to get up. Within reason, because I know things with medication and time getting up and so forth, some of that may be clinically necessary to do it a certain way. But things like, what are your preferences? What color do you like? What TV show do you like? How do you like your drink prepared? How do you like this? Just ask her what she wants. And that should be the foundation of service, giving the other person what they need, what they want. However, I learned something. I learned that you can give people precisely what they ask for, and they can still be upset. When we moved to the DC area, within maybe a year, car was parked outside and it was parked outside for a couple of hours, came back out to the car, and the front right wheel was missing. So someone stole the wheel. Fun, right? Stole the wheel. So I put on a little donut wheel, and I drove to the dealership and I told the gentleman behind the parts desk that my wheel got stolen. So now I'm annoyed. The person behind the parts desk said to me, no problem, we'll get you a new wheel, it'll be here tomorrow. Great, so I'm excited. As I'm leaving, the dealership manager stopped me and asked if I got everything I came for. I said, well, yeah, I know my wheel got stolen and I ordered new wheels, so it'll be here tomorrow. Then the dealership manager asked me a question, a very powerful question that's really changed a lot of my thinking. He asked me, but did you also order the wheel locks? I'm like, what's a wheel lock? For those of you who don't know, a wheel lock is a special lug you put on the wheel to prevent theft. I never knew such things existed. So I went back to the guy I ordered the wheel from and I said, I thought we were friends. I told you my wheel got stolen, but you said nothing about wheel locks. Guess what he said? He said, I was giving you what you wanted. So he was giving me precisely what I asked for and I was still upset. Have you ever given your residents exactly what they asked for? You've given them exactly what they wanted and they're still not happy? That means that meeting expectations is not enough. Don't think you're doing something special by complying with requests. In truth, a kiosk can comply with requests. A computer can comply with requests. And we are more than computers and kiosks. We are here to do more. So on that day, I made up the double platinum rule. And the double platinum rule is simply this. Treat others the way they don't even know they want to be treated yet. Let me say it again. The double platinum rule is treat others the way they don't even know they want to be treated yet. Give me more. If you walk into my Aunt Agnes's room and she was reading a book, but now she's sleeping and the book is open, maybe you may get a bookmark and put it in the place in the book so that she doesn't lose her space. Double platinum rule. If you walk into work one day and you may ask your residents, are you expecting any visitors today? Awesome, they may be expecting visitors. What time are they coming? Are there any kids? What are their ages? What are their genders? Maybe you can get extra chairs in the room. Maybe you may get a couple extra cups and some water pitchers. Maybe if you know that the granddaughter is coming, you may get a little toy that's age appropriate. Always look for ways to do more. I know, for example, one lady, it was actually a husband and wife, and they were both in the nursing home. And they were, very elderly, and they were physically unable to go to their grandson's wedding. So what the nursing assistant overheard them talking about this, and then the nursing assistant took it upon herself to organize with the family to put together a mini wedding reception in their room. Isn't that special? That's the double platinum rule. Find out, how can I do more than the bare minimum with this person? How can I do more than the bare minimum with this person? What can I do to wow somebody today? That's the double platinum rule. Don't wait for anybody to ask you anything. You are subject matter experts in your role. Look for ways to do more than is expected. That's the double platinum rule. So that's number one. The second way to engage is by understanding touch points. Now, a touch point is any interaction between the customer and you. Now, by now you understand the customer is anybody who is the recipient of the blessings you have to offer. Whether that customer is called resident, a family member, a co-worker, team member, somebody in another department, somebody who reports to you, somebody you report to, doesn't matter. It's a customer. Now, the overall experience is made up of several touch points. The touch points are key. Now, each touch point has either a deposit or withdrawal. Each touch point has either deposit or withdrawal. You're either doing something to engage me or you're doing something to disengage me. Let's say, for example, a touch point can be answering the phone. Touch point can be walking into St. Francis. A touch point can be you giving medication. A touch point can be you doing rehab. A touch point can be you admitting someone. A touch point can you giving my family and I a tour of the facility before we decide to put our Aunt Agnes in your care. How many touch points would you think there are? I mean, there's hundreds, thousands of touch points. Thousands of touch points. Each touch point has a deposit or withdrawal. I work with a nursing home in New Hampshire, and whenever their staff is doing a deposit, they say to each other, cha-ching! It's kind of corny, but it works for them. It works for them. All right? I remember being on a flight. I was flying back from France, and I'm on this long transatlantic flight, and about 6 rows ahead of me, there was a passenger. Now, on these long flights, flight attendants always announce what drinks and snacks they're coming down the aisle with before they come down the aisle. They actually say what they're going to bring. Well, they were on the 3rd cycle of doing this, and the passenger 6 rows ahead of me asked the flight attendant, "What drinks do you have again?" The flight attendant looked at the passenger and said, "The same ones we had 2,000 miles ago. The same ones." Now, isn't that the mother of our withdrawals? Now, I was 6 rows back, and I heard that comment. That means that was a withdrawal for me too. That means everyone who heard that comment, that was a withdrawal. Don't think people can't hear you when you're out in the hallways. Don't think they can't hear you when you're congregating in the parking lot. Don't think they can't hear you when you're walking up and down. People can hear you. And all it takes, ladies and gentlemen, is one touch point to turn a customer into a lifelong advocate, or somebody who will never come back ever again, and tell all their friends and family, whatever you do not go to that skilled nursing facility because they are not nice people. So pay attention to your touch points and look for ways to make deposits, not withdrawals. When you walk by someone and you don't say, that's a touch point right there. When you are walking past somebody, it's a touch point. If you look at them and smile, that is a deposit. You walk right past them like they were invisible, withdrawal. Now I realize that that does not happen at St. Francis Health Services of Morris. I know everybody greets everybody every single day. I know at St. Francis Health Services of Morris, when you come to work, you say good morning, good afternoon to everybody you work with. I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about everybody else, not you. What I'm saying to you is no matter how awesome your company is, no matter how many benefits you have, no matter how inspirational your mission, vision, and values are, no matter what you do for the community, no matter how phenomenal your administrator is, your DON is, no matter all these different things, ultimately, each person who comes to work has to make a decision within themselves, within their heart, of how exceptional you are going to be that day. What am I going to do today to be exceptional? Today. It's still a choice I have to make. How am I going to enhance the touch points today? Nobody can make me work like I own it. Now it helps. It helps if I come to work and I'm in a great work environment. It helps if I come to work and I'm working alongside people who love what they do also. It helps if I come to work and there is a manager who loves what they do and who holds me accountable and who recognizes excellence and who does not tolerate mediocrity. All of that helps. But what I'm saying to you is at some point, you have to make a personal declaration to yourself. I am not going to do less than I'm supposed to do. In fact, I'm not going to even do the bare minimum because I am not a BM. Yeah? I have been wonderfully created in the image of God to do wonderful works. I've been blessed with talent and education and experience, not just from me, so I can say, look at all the initials after my name. I've been doing this longer than you were born. And then, no. What, the gifts you've been blessed with, the gifts we've been blessed with is not for us. It's for us to help others, so that when Aunt Agnes's family and Uncle Lou's family brings them in for you to care for them, you're using all of yourself. You're using all of yourself, not just the physical, not just your hands, not just your head, not just your heart, but you're using all of yourself. Your Holy Spirit, the Spirit inside of you included, to serve and care for and help. Now, this brings us to this word of purpose. The purpose is so key. Everything you do has a function and a purpose. Another word for function is task. Everything you do has a task or a purpose, a function or purpose. Now, the function is what you do, and the purpose is the reason, the why, the deeper meaning behind how you do what you do. Let's say, for example, there are two people who are greeting people as they're greeting customers and potential customers as they're coming into St. Francis Health Service building. You have two people. And one person I'm training, I'm saying, when somebody enters the building, I want you to stop what you're doing, greet them, say hello, say welcome to St. Francis Health Services of Morris. That's awesome. Okay? Now, the second person I'm training, I say, whatever you do, whenever somebody comes in, I want you to greet them like they're a king or queen. Make them feel like you've been waiting just to see them all day. Make them feel like there's nothing else more important in your life than making that individual feel welcome. Which of those two people will do a more engaging job? The second person, the one who got the why the why, the purpose behind how you do what you do. I can tell, even if you're taking my blood pressure, I can tell if you understand the purpose or if you're just fulfilling a role. One of our, back in the Ritz-Carlton where I used to work years ago, one of the 20 standards that we had 20 basics. We call them 20 basics. There were standards that everybody had to adhere to. And basic number 16 was escort guests rather than point out directions to another area of the property. So escort rather than point. Does that sound like a function or a purpose? And don't say functional purpose. People always tell me that. It's a purpose. I'm sorry, it's a function actually. It's a function, it's a function. I can do that without knowing why I'm doing it. I can do it and say, well, my boss told me to do it. If I don't do it, I get written up. No, that's not the purpose. The purpose of escorting people rather than pointing is to ensure that they get where they're going. You can build a relationship with them as you're walking them. You can learn their preferences as you're walking with them. You can find out if there's anything more you can do for them. There's so many purposes. So I encourage you today, whatever you're doing, think about the purpose behind it. Even when you're giving medication, even when you're giving a bed bath, even when you're changing a bedpan, even when you're doing the activities, even when you're doing the stretching, think about the purpose behind what you're doing. Think about the purpose of your role. A lot of times when I ask someone what is their job and what the purpose of their role is, they give me a list of things that they do. And I change this, I do this. No. I'm not talking about the list. I'm not talking about your task. I'm talking about your purpose. Your purpose. Now, I want to give you an example. Years ago, my wife and I went to visit, we were in Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. We went to visit the Dominican Republic. And while there, we took a tour of a little art village, what it was. And we bought a huge canvas painting drawn by a local artist. Beautiful, colorful painting. Got the painting, and I had it rolled up with a canvas painting, so we had it shipped back home, back to where we live here in Maryland. So got back home, and I wanted to get this painting framed, this beautiful painting framed. So I went into a framing store. And I walked into the store, and it's a big store. It was not just a framing store, it was an arts and crafts store that had a framing shop inside of it. You may know what I'm talking about. But I walked into the store, and I didn't see any employees. I didn't see any customers. I thought, well, what is going on? Am I the last person alive? Did the apocalypse happen? But then eventually I saw an employee. Way in the corner, way at the other end of the store, far from where I was. I saw her. She saw me, and she ran, just took off running away from me. Not running towards me, she went running away from me. Clearly, she didn't want to be bothered. So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna find her. So I went down each aisle I was looking for her, looking for where she was. Eventually, I saw her in one of the aisles, and she was on the floor. She was stocking shelves with a coworker. Now, she didn't see me at that point, but I overheard her say to her coworker, if it weren't for these customers, we can get our jobs done. Let's have that sink in for a moment. I'll wait. I'll wait while it's sinking in. I'll say it again. If it weren't for these customers, we can get our jobs done. Wouldn't it be awesome if you had no residents today there at St. Francis Health Services? Wouldn't you get so much work done? Think of all you can get done if you had no residents or family members calling you for stuff. Can you think about that? Sounds funny, doesn't it? But I will tell you, there are people every day who think exactly like that. They complain when they're busy. If you're not busy, you have no job. If there's nothing for you to do, you have no job. The customer is not an interruption of your work. They are the purpose of your work. If there is no customer, there's no job. So when people are calling you, say thank you. When people are asking you for things, be grateful. When they ring that call bell, say, oh yes, now I got something to do. You always have things to do, but don't get angry, don't get annoyed, don't get peeved when someone is calling on you to do something, because whenever someone calls on you to do something, it means your job, your role, has relevance. So don't complain when you're busy. Be grateful when you're busy. All right? Now, this brings us to our steps of service. Our steps of service. Now, everything has a beginning, a middle, and end. You cannot say that service begins unless there is a warm welcome using the person's name. Now, I specifically said warm. That adverb is very important. That adjective is very important because it could be a cold welcome. It could be a welcome without a smile. Good morning, how are you doing today? Now make sure that everything is charged up. One moment. All right. Warm welcome using the person's name. Now, the warm welcome is very important. If I use your name, that says that I've taken the time to know you, see you, learn about you, and I care enough about you to use your name, right? The welcome is warm when there's a smile, there's eye contact, there's something there, there's a connection. Now, if I don't know your name, if you don't know your customer's name, don't make one up. Sounds funny, but if you don't know the customer's name, don't make one up. And don't, sweetie, hun, dear, sugar, mama, auntie, whatever name. No, don't make it up. Unless you've got expressed permission by the person for you to call them nicknames, then don't do it. Don't do it. Some people will cringe when you come around because they cannot stand the name you're calling them. And they're too fearful and they have too much anxiety to speak up because you're the one handling their medicine. That's real. I have been called, in businesses, as a customer, I have been called bro way too many times. Too many times. I've been called player way too many times. I mean, way too many times. I was leaving a building, and I was leaving a hotel, and the client organized a town car to pick me up. This is nice. I don't need a town car, but I got a nice car to pick me up. So I'm leaving the hotel, and I'm dressed casually because on days when I'm traveling, I tend to dress more casual. So I'm leaving the hotel, and the town car driver saw me, right? And the town car driver was like dressed with tuxedo, basically. When he saw me coming towards the car, he said, "What's up, player?" Do I know you? I'm not sure. I mean, we're not friends. I mean, don't make up names for people. Find out what name they want to be called and use it. Then, after you use their name, after you welcome them. Now, the warm welcome, just so you know, is in person, on the phone, even email. Warm welcome. Secondly, comply and anticipate. Not comply and if you're in a good mood, anticipate. Not comply and you'll try really hard to anticipate. No, comply, period. Complying is the platinum rule. Anticipating is the double platinum rule. That's step 2. Now, you may think, well, we're done. You've come into the room. You've greeted the person. You've done what they asked you to do. You even took a step further and you anticipated their needs. Great, but you're not done there. Because the next level is you offer additional assistance. After you've done what you've done, after you've brought them to drink, after you've gotten an extra pillow, after you've checked their vitals, is there anything more I can do for you? Is there anything more I can do for you? Now see, what if the person says yes? Wouldn't that be tragic? So you can't, no, it's not going to be tragic. Remember, the customer is not an interruption of your work. They're the purpose of your work. So when you ask that question, is there anything more I can do for you? Don't close your eyes thinking, please say no, please say no, please say no, please say no, please God say no, I'm busy. I have all these rooms to take care of. I have all these voicemails to return. Oh, please, no. No. Ask it earnestly. No, you don't understand. You're not bothering me. I am here for you. My job, like the reason I get paid, is to serve you. Many times you have to reassure, remind your residents and their family that your job is to take care of them. Now, you've greeted me, you've complied, you've anticipated, you offered additional assistance. Now we have the gracious goodbye. That step is the one that tends to be missed most often. Greet me, comply, anticipate, offer additional assistance, give a gracious goodbye. Now, you may be looking at this, and you may be looking at everything we've talked about so far. Double platinum, touch points, purpose, steps of service. You may be looking at them thinking, Bryan, come on. This is common sense. This is so elementary. This is so basic. It's common. Anybody knows how to do this. Well, let me ask you this question. If something is considered to be common sense, but is not commonly done, is it really common sense? If it's common sense, it should be common behavior. If it's common sense, it should be done all the time. If it's common sense, it shouldn't be no slip-ups. If it's so common, if it's so easy. So if you can tell me without question that you do all of these things all the time, then yeah, it's common sense. If not, then it's not common. There's always something more to do. You know, I'll tell you something. So the Olympics just ended. The Winter Olympics just ended. Whether it's Winter Olympics, Summer Olympics, oftentimes you have these gold medalists from prior games. You think about Usain Bolt, you think about Michael Phelps, you think about all these, the snowboarder, I can't think of his name, Shaun White, all these Olympians who've won gold medals in previous Olympics, they keep coming back to win more Olympics. And they tend to work harder in practice and so forth more than everybody else. And you think, well, they've already won gold medals. They've been doing this. Most Olympians, they've been working at their craft since they were like 4, 5 years old, if not younger. Yeah? So you think to yourself, if you're already exceptional at what you do, why are you still working so hard? And the answer is this. Excellence is not a destination you arrive at. Excellence is an ongoing journey. Whenever you say, well, I know all of that, I know enough, then you've missed the point. Coach Lou Holtz, Hall of Fame coach, one time he said, everything in life, you're either growing or dying. Plants are either growing or dying. You know, your health is either growing or dying. Your marriage is either growing or dying. Something is either getting better or it's getting worse. If you're not putting forth deliberate effort to improve, then it's dying. So what I'm saying to you today, no matter how much you think you know, no matter how awesome you already are, no matter how many times you got Employee of the Month and Employee of the Quarter, no matter how many times you got the free parking space, no matter how many commendations and recognition you've received, excellence is a lifelong journey. It's either getting better or it's getting worse. Now, this touch point table, it's something for you to reflect on. It's a tool for you to use. I want to give you an example. You have a touch point, and you either meet expectations or exceed expectations. So let's fill in the top column. Top column. Let's say the touch point is you're giving a bed bath. Okay? You want to give a bed bath to my Aunt Agnes. Well, meeting expectations is you come in on time, you have the water, you have the cloth, you have the soap, you have the bedpan, you have all the different things you need to give the bed bath, right? That's meeting expectations. My Aunt Agnes and her family expects you to do that. If you do that, there's nothing special. That doesn't make St. Francis Health Services stand out because you did what you were supposed to do. If you give me what I asked for, that is not excellence. Excellence means to excel. Excel means to go beyond what is expected. Okay? Now, exceed expectations. You may come in and you may ask my Aunt Agnes, what temperature water does she like? Is there a preferred soap she likes? Is there a favorite washcloth that she likes? Is there a certain way she likes to be? Is there maybe she has certain music she wants to have played? Maybe there's a certain TV show she wants to watch while she's getting her bed bath. Exceed expectations. Do more. You see? So I encourage you with your colleagues, with your team, list your most common touch points on that left column. In the middle column, articulate what it looks like to meet expectations. And lastly, what does it mean to exceed expectations? And you really got to push for that last column. Don't allow anything to go in that last column unless it results in a wow. And the best way to know if your customer's wowed is if the customer says, wow. If it's a wow, they're going to say, wow. Do something memorable. Do something memorable. I want to tell you that every thought you produce, anything you say, any action you do, it bears your signature. Your signature. Now, signature by definition is a distinguishing feature, aspect, or mark. It's something that no one else can do quite like you. Maybe it's your smile, maybe it's the way you tell a joke, maybe it's the way you provide food, maybe it's the way you serve, maybe it's the way you escort, maybe it's the way you learn preferences and act on it, maybe it's the way you remember birthdays, maybe it's the way you remember anniversaries, maybe it's the way how you somehow seem to bring light into the work environment, because when you come to work, everyone smiles. It's a signature. Whatever it is, I encourage you, how do you sign your work? How do you sign your work? How do you put your thumbprint on what you do? In all God's creation, there is no one who was you. You are the only you. There's no one else who's ever been you. Ever. In the history of mankind, you are the only you that's ever existed, and you are the only you that will ever exist. So it's futile, it's almost disrespectful for you to try to be like someone else. Because you can't be someone else. God uniquely made you to be you. So as you're serving, as you're helping, as you're providing that wonderful care that you've been blessed to provide, the wonderful care, because the care and health care, the wonderful care you've been blessed to provide, think to yourself, how can I put my personal stamp on what I do? So I want to close by saying to be memorable. Be memorable. Be memorable. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You don't need to know about Plato and Aristotle to serve. You don't need to know Einstein's theory of relativity to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. You are in the love business. To love means to care deeply for, to have affection for it. I will say to you here today that if you don't have love in your heart for who you serve and for what you do, then it's best for you not to work in healthcare. If you don't love what you do, don't work in healthcare. If you don't, only work for an organization that you have deep caring for. Only work for an organization where the mission and vision and values of that organization mirrors your own vision, mission, and values. Don't get caught up like how a lot of people, when they go to work, they complain about where they work. They don't like where they work. They can't stand where they work. They wake up in the morning with a headache because they can't believe they got to go to work again. They go to work in this place where they can't stand. If you don't like where you work, don't work there. Find somewhere else to work. And I'm going to say, by all accounts, St. Francis Health Services of Morris is a phenomenal place to work, and it's a place that has the living Spirit of God right all up in it. All right? So I encourage you, we've covered the platinum rule. We've talked about touch points. We've talked about the difference between serving and engaging. We've talked about purpose. We've talked about some steps of service. We've talked about meeting versus exceeding expectations. So we've given you a menu of items. So what I'm going to say to you is pick one. If you can just change one thing, if you just order one thing off that menu and commit to doing it today, not tomorrow, today, it'll mean the world. The choice you make today will be the choice you make tomorrow. I'll say it again. The choice you make today will be the choice you make tomorrow. If you do nothing from this presentation today, you will do nothing tomorrow from this presentation. If you do one thing today, you will do something tomorrow. Do it today. Success is not what happens tomorrow or a month from now or 3 months from now. Success is what you do today. Now, that's all we have anyway. I have one other thing I want to close with before everything's over. You've all heard the saying that a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Now, I want you to think about if I'm in the Grand Canyon and I'm being chased by some lions. Now, just stay with me, okay? I know that. Go with me. I'm being chased by some lions. And the only way to escape these lions is to jump over the Grand Canyon, hold on to a chain, and swing over it to escape, like I'm Indiana Jones or something. As I'm swinging, I'm not thinking this chain better be strong. I am putting my hope and thinking that, oh my gosh, I hope that each link in this chain does what it's supposed to do. Each link, my life is depending on each link being rock solid. You see? Now, by now, you probably realize that the entire team is a chain, but you are a link. See? Each person on this webinar, each person at work is a link, and your link matters. Your link matters. I'm hoping that you also realize that everything we discussed today is not exclusive to work. In fact, I wasn't really talking about work. I was talking about life in general. I hope you realize you can apply everything we discussed today in your own personal life. But the chain is only as strong as what you individually choose to do today. So, despite processes breaking, things are not perfect, right? You may have some days where you get a lot of call bells, you may have residents complain, you may have family happen, your family may complain about something, you may be in a bad mood, maybe a snowstorm outside, something may not happen, a defect may come up, there may be an opportunity for improvement, there may be something that doesn't happen the way it's supposed to be done, right? That happens every day. But, what each person must remember, here's my anchor point for the entire presentation. My anchor point is simply this. No matter what goes wrong, if there's a process that didn't get followed today, if a mistake happened, it will not be because of me. I am not going to be the weak link in the chain. I am going to do everything I am supposed to do today to make a meaningful, positive, world-class difference in someone's life. I am going to do what I'm supposed to do. I am not today, maybe tomorrow, but not today. I am not going to be the one that leaves my teammates with undone work, not today. I am not going to be the one who grunts and complains, not today. I'm not going to be the one who blame other departments for doing it, not today. I'm not going to be the one to complain about customers, that we have customers and we have residents, not today. I am going to be the one who is the strong link in the chain. And if everyone on your team at St. Francis Health Services believes that they are going to be the strong link, now you have a chain made of strong links. Make sense? So, on that note, I want to thank you so much for doing what you do. The work that you do is meaningful. The work that you do is just amazing. I mean, not everybody can do what you do. The world needs loving, caring, hospitable, empathetic, authentic individuals who love nothing more than serving others. And that's what you do so incredibly well every day. So I want to thank the team there at St. Francis Health Services for inviting me to be a part of this webinar. If there's nothing else, thank you, and I'll turn it back over to you.